Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. CSC 508 data structure for week 2. I would like to talk about list. Okay, although this is topic 1, but actually topic 1 is introduction, but this slide, never mind. List is actually chapter 2, yeah. So this slide is actually from the resource person, lecturer from UITM Shahlam. I just want to teach whatever has in the lecture site provided by the lecturer from FSKM Shah Alam. So for topic 1, actually you have to learn about array list. This is now you start to learn about data structure. There are two data structure for list topic, which are array list and linked list. But for this week, we are going to learn about linked list first. And for the lab, you have to try to develop linked list by using the programming sample provided in the module. You have to try, but then after you try, I'm going to give you assignment 1 related to array list and linked list. All right, okay. So for this chapter, you are going to learn about the list interface, learn about what are the lists. List, you have to learn about the array list, one method which is use array, different with conventional array. This is array data structure. And next week, we are going to learn about linked list, which is pointer based list. Okay, so there are two type of lists for this chapter, array list and linked list. So you have to learn the basic properties of this data structure, and you have to know how to build and manipulate an array list and a linked list. Okay. Okay, no matter about collection hierarchy, because we are using Java use collection interface to define, to present the ADT. Collection interface, the root of collection hierarchy. For example, the list interface of student. For example, let's say you are going to develop a list of to develop application to store and manipulate student record, or you are going to develop and to store books record. So you have to develop a list of a collection of elements for the list. Okay, and you have to define operation on the list interface, such as to finding a specified object, adding new element, or removing item from the list. Okay, this is just example, don't worry about this. This is the Java utility list. You can use predefined Java utility list to use array list, stack, and linked list. Actually already been in Java provided for you, but for this syllabus, only array list you are allowed to use Java utility, but the rest, stack, linked list, tree, you have to develop by your own. Okay, and also for array list, there is certain method that you have to know, okay, to understand that. Okay, so what is actually the difference between array list and array? Array is sort of complex data structure, complex data type, but this is not a data structure. Data structure is array list. Array is a collection. It's a collection of variable. It's a collection of item with the same data type, but array list not. Okay, let's see what are the different. The first one, the array list gives you additional capability. Yes, it has extra advantage compared to array. The length in an array is fixed. Let's say you declare an array integer x, the size is 10, so the size is always 10. You cannot increase or decrease the size. So the size is not dynamic for array, but array list data structure, the size can be dynamic. An array provides you the ability to store primitive data. You remember primitive data, integer, character, float, double, boolean. So array is used to store that kind of primitive data types, while list, while array list used only to store references to an object. Right? It only can store object. Okay? Later when you implement, you cannot insert, you cannot add integer into array list data structure. You have to cast, you have to convert. Cast is to convert. You have to cast the integer from the primitive type into an object integer. Okay, there is example for that, don't worry. Okay, values of the primitive type can't be stored directly in array list, but must instead use wrapper. This is the wrapper casting lah. Alright, okay. Later on, you can see the sample of codes. In Java, Java API provides predefined array list class, okay, which is an array. Although this array list data structure use array, okay, as the underlying structure to implement the list. Okay, let's say you have a list of students, so that object of student will be stored by using array for you to implement array list. Okay, so an array list class is the class that implements the list interface. Okay, this is example. Okay, no matter built-in or you develop your own. Okay, of course built-in, this is the concept. For example, you have what we call a reference to the array. This is array list. Okay, currently we have data happy, jumpy, awful. Yeah, this is the originally release. For data here, for object here, started from array 0. Okay, remember array list is to implement list by using array. When talk about array, it has index number. Index number must start with 0. Okay, let's say we are going to insert new element or new object to the array list, and we want to insert in the middle or at the third element. So directly we can insert at the position index 2. Okay, where jumpy and happy, which jumpy originally at index 2, will be moved into next index. Okay, and from the previous, let's say I'm going to remove awful, which is at index 1. So what happened? The array list will rearrange the content of the element to fill in the empty position. Dog, which is first at original at the position 2, will be moved into position 1 because awful has been deleted. Okay, that's the best about array list compared to array. Array list is dynamic. Okay, there will be a movement of data after process of deletion or insertion. Okay. Let's say I want to replace jumpy with sneezy. So you can directly go to position 2 and replace jumpy with sneezy. Okay. So these are the available methods in the Java utility array. Get, and you pass the index. Index is the position of the object in that array list, in the array. So you can get which element, which position you want. So this method will return object. Remember, it won't return integer, it won't return float, it return object because this is array list. Set is what you want to replace at that certain position with new element. Okay, what's happened, like this one, I want to replace jumpy with sneezy. So you can use set. Size is to get the current size or the number of object in the array list. For example, let's say this one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 object. It will return integer. Size will return integer. Okay, next method is add. Add means there are two type of adds. Okay, this is polymorphism. Same method, different. Same method name, both add but different implementation. The first one with 1 parameter, the second one with 2 parameters. The first one, no position in the parameter, means that you are going to insert new element at the end of the array list. If you call this method, means that you are going to insert element at the end of array list. But this one, if you want to insert element at your desired position, kat mana you nak letak, which index, right? Middle, number 2, third, or if you want to insert at the front, use this one. If you want to insert at the at the end of the array list, use this one. Index of is to know the index of object. Let's say you want to know the index of sneezy. So when you call that method, it will return 2. Okay? That is a predefined array list where you can use directly from the Java predefined libraries. You can develop your own, but never mind for this subject. For your first for this subject array list, you can use the predefined Java. But in case you want to develop your own, you have to understand the concept. This is one example. You have to declare the class for your array. Okay, and then this example, if you want to add method for object add, so you have to understand how it going to move the elements down when you insert new data. Okay. Okay, what is the difference between array list versus linked list? This is going to be next week. Okay, because next week I'm going to talk about linked list. So later on we'll talk about the difference between array list and linked list. That's all for this slide.